All right, so what is up, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Shots, episode 19. And today we're joined here with two-time All-American for the University of Wisconsin, Trent Hillger.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome to the show, Trent. Obviously, one of the most dominant heavyweights in the NCAA right now. Had to have you on the show, being that the other two didn't want to come. Mason Paris Gable, I'm talking to you. Come on the show, you can defend yourself. But let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with, when did you start wrestling? How old were you?
So I was 4 years old when I started wrestling. That's when I started practicing. I started competing when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
But it's been a while.
It's been a long time. Has it just always been something you wanted to do, or was like your dad? Did you have any older brothers?
So my dad actually was going to go wrestle for a D2 school in college, and the year he got there, they dropped the program. So he decided to just go to that school and not wrestle there. But he was a pretty decent wrestler in high school. He was from Michigan, couple-time runner-up, and he just kind of introduced it to me. And I mean, ever since there, the rest is history.
So you're a little kid. Did you win any major tournaments when you were younger, anything like that?
I guess my first year I won the state tournament.
Hey.
I was wrestling in an age group 5'6", and I was 85 pounds and 5 or 6 year old. So I was the only one in the bracket actually, my first year. For the state champ, but
fun fact, my first tournament in 6th, 7th grade, I also won an entire tournament just for showing up as well. I did that too. I won the heavyweight tournament in 7th grade because there was no other heavyweight at the tournament. So I weighed in, and they're like, "Here's your trophy." Took off my shoes and was like, "All right, now I have to relax the rest of the day."
Hey,
so
champ is champ.
Hey, my name is still somewhere in that school that I won. So, I'm guessing you just always wrestled. Did you play any other sports?
I actually played a lot of sports. So starting in 3rd grade, I played football and just played that all the way through high school. I used to do BMX. I used to swim a little bit. I used to run track. I used to do cross country. So I used to play baseball. So I used to do a little bit of everything. And then
did you win outstanding male athlete? I sure hope so.
I tied it. I shared it at my high school.
Wow.
There's a kid that's playing I believe it's D3 basketball now. He was all state in basketball, football, and cross country.
Basketball's not a sport.
So obviously, you were just a sporty kid, and I feel like we see that a lot with just a lot of these guys. So, was football for you kind of up there with wrestling, or was wrestling that's just what you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, I was gonna play football before wrestle, no doubt, until I hit about my junior year, and I was like, you know what, I might actually want to do this in the future. But however long I started playing football, I was going to play football in college. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's as soon as I started winning a state title and seeing that I could be really good at this, I was like, hey, let's try this in college, or let's give these coaches a chance to recruit me.
So were you recruited for football or no?
Oh yeah, I was recruited by more football schools than I was for wrestling.
Yeah. So is there any knowledgeable Division I football programs that you were recruited by?
Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, all the Ivy League schools, Virginia Tech, State. So
I'm sure Wisconsin was at least happy that they got you just as an athlete for the school in general. I feel.
Yeah. So my final, I was 100% dead set on going to Cornell for wrestling. Actually, I was going to wrestle and play football there.
Yeah.
And then Barry Davis called me way end of the recruiting process, end of summer going into my senior year. And I was like, you know what? And it's good. After that phone call, I took a visit out there and decided it was going to be Wisconsin no matter what. I just didn't know if I'd play football or wrestle.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of came down to.
So let's just talk about your way into high school. So you were in Michigan, right? You wrestled in Michigan. You're from Michigan?
Yep.
So in Michigan, is it 9th grade starts varsity or 8th grade?
9th grade.
9th grade. So your 7th and 8th grade year, you wrestled on the junior varsity team. Were you just really good then too, or?
So we just wrestled I wrestled middle school and youth through the My Way system. I don't know if you guys have that out there, but so I would always my 8th grade year I won state. It was me and Brandon Whitman actually would always go back and forth, at our state tournament. Like he would beat me, and then I would beat him. There he is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. But so like me and Brandon Whitman were always like the final two in the state tournament in youth. So in 7th and 8th grade. But my 8th grade year, I did win state.
So you won state your 8th grade year. So coming into your freshman season, what were you feeling? Were you feeling like, hey, I won state? Were you feeling like you could do it again at the high school level, or was it like a whole different ballgame for you?
I was dead set on being a 4-timer, like mentally. And so, I mean, when I didn't, I was really disappointed. I felt like I had a pretty good year. I took 4th. And actually my teammate, so in Michigan, your high school teammates can wrestle in the same weight class.
Yeah.
So my teammate actually won state that year, and I beat him out the whole year for the position, and I ended up losing to him for the state in the state tournament, and it was brutal. He ended up winning the state tournament, but I know no, when I came in, I thought I could win all 4, and I was close. I was up there.
So you got 4th your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
So you lost to your teammate, and then who did you lose to in the 3rd and 4th place match?
A kid from a really small school. His name's Skylar Lay. I don't know if he wrestled in college or not, but
hey, still good for a freshman. Obviously, taking 4th in the state of Michigan, still really good. So then, do you remember like doing anything like really memorable for you in that summer, from your freshman to your sophomore year?
I guess just mentally, I told myself I wasn't going to lose again. And it was just one of those things, like, I hate this feeling. And so I wrestled 171 my freshman year. Michigan has the old weight classes.
Yeah.
So I wrestled 171 my freshman year, and I just decided, like, hey, like, I'm not going to lose again. I hated this feeling.
Yeah.
And so I worked out twice a day, 6 times a week during that summer, and, like, kind of, like, through all the way till my senior year. And I got up to 220, would wrestle at 215 my next year. And I didn't lose a match in high school after that. And it was just one of those things, like, I just decided, like, mentally, it was just like, I'm over this. Because I didn't lose a ton in middle school, so I didn't get, like, that feeling. And when I lost, like, a few times in high school, I'm like, all right, I'm done with this.
Yeah. Akil, do you mind talking here for like 2 seconds? I'm gonna leave and rejoin. Everything's frozen on my screen.
Yeah, I got you. So you go to Lake Fenn. Like, are they known for like wrestling or like?
They've had a few really good years. So when I was there, Jarrett Trombley, who wrestles at NC State right now, they're 133. He was my high school teammate. He was a 4-timer for us. We've had a lot of pretty good teams. Like right now we're down, but in a couple years we're gonna have another really good team over there. But it's kind of like a newer school, I should say. So, but we're pretty good for wrestling. We're known pretty well for wrestling.
Yeah, I remember seeing like back like when I just started the page. I remember looking for like a lot of your high school stuff. I remember there was just one match where you wrestled like some really good kid at like it was either 215 or heavyweight. It was like a 1-point match every time. I don't remember who.
Was it Perry? Because he wrestled. I think it was Dan Perry. It was my junior year. He wrestled at Michigan, and then he went to go play football at D2.
Yeah. It was some pretty cool matches. So you were basically like the guy in the state, right? After then, you didn't lose a single match till like your high school career was over.
Mm-hmm.
Like the main guy in Michigan at that point was like Adam Kuhn for the University of Michigan. He was like the guy up there, right?
Yeah.
So you obviously practiced with him like a couple of times. Like, how was that?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. So I'd go down to the Michigan RTC a lot, and I would train with him, and it was just a great learning experience. You're not going to wrestle a guy that good when you're a sophomore, junior in high school. So getting the experience, just his skill set. And I mean, the dude was 4-time All-American, multiple-time finalist or something like that. So just getting that experience to wrestle that and get used to that size, and like it just prepared me for college a little bit better, made the transition a little bit easier because I got to feel the best of the best before I even got out of high school.
Did you ever find yourself beating Adam Kuhn, or was it just?
So there was actually one match. I think he was training for Final X. I might have been going into my red shirt freshman year, so last year, and we wrestled a freestyle match. And I started off the match, end of the first period, I was beating him 8-0, and I was feeling like super good about myself. And then he throws me like 3 times in the second period, and then it ended up like he ended up beating me like whatever 18-10 or something like that. But I got a couple blast doubles off right away, and I was feeling really good about myself. And then he hits me with some typical Adam Coon stuff.
Did you ever stop the body lock?
Oh no, he's just so big too. It's just like if you get anywhere near him, he's gonna pull you in, and if once he gets that body locked up, it's kind of tough to get out of there.
Yeah, because people like people on the outside, they watch his matches, be like, oh, he just walks up to them and grabs a single. It's like, oh, that's not gonna work on me. And then you don't realize like how big of a man he actually is until it happens to you.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy. You just have to experience it for yourself, honestly.
Yeah. Like the matches against Snyder and
that was wild.
The ragdoll too in that match.
So it's your sophomore season. You didn't take a loss during the regular season, so I'm sure. How do you guys do like postseason? Like what are your three? Like do you have 3 or 4 tournaments to qualify for state?
We have district, regional, and then we have our state tournament.
All right, yeah, same for Pennsylvania. So you obviously won districts, won regionals, yeah, and then so you find yourself in the state. What? So you lost the year before in the semifinals.
I lost first round actually the year before, and I wrestled all the way back to 3rd and 4th.
That's got to be tough wrestling all the way back like that.
It was like 7 matches, I think.
It's 32-man bracket.
16.
16, all right. And then how are the qualifications?
It's stupid. So what we do, we have our district tournament, and there's like those are like 20-ish man brackets. Mm-hmm. And the top 4 will go to regionals, and it's 2 districts. So there's 8 people in the regional, and top 4 from regional go. And there's 4 regions.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like Jersey, just the numbers are off.
Mm-hmm. So you see yourself in that first round of the state tournament where you're just thinking about that the whole time last year. The year before I wasn't able to do it, so I'm sure you were a little bit nervous. I'm sure that first match.
Oh yeah, I was extremely nervous because I was like, because I was kind of the favorite going in. I was probably expected to take second last year or my freshman year, and when I lost first round, I was like kind of this big upset, especially since I've beaten my teammate the whole time, and so it was kind of like one of those things like I can't let that happen again. Like I was like that was in the back of my mind the whole time. It did help I wrestled the kid earlier in the year. So, like, I already had, like, a good feeling of him. I already pinned him earlier in the year. So that helped a little bit. But it was still, like, anything can happen at, like, these state tournaments or national tournaments. So it was just, I don't know. I just played it safe, and ended up doing pretty well.
Yeah, so you find yourself in the state final. What's going through your head? You're like, this is what I've been working for, How did that match go, your finals, your sophomore year?
So I ended up winning 6-0. It was just it was one of those things like it was like here's my opportunity to reach my goal. Like let's do it. And that's like I honestly was less nervous for my state finals match than I was for the first match of that state tournament. And it was like here it is, like it's time to take advantage of it. And the kid I was wrestling was this big, strong dude. He ended up playing college football. And it was one of those really slow-paced matches, and I was able to break it open in the third. And then I don't know, just like when I finally got that last turn in, I was like, all right, this is over. Once I got my legs on top, I knew it was over.
And you still ride those legs now.
Yes, sir.
So, you just came off a big state championship win, and I'm sure you weren't gonna, let yourself just kind of be like, oh well, I won a state title, so now I can relax. So I'm sure that summer you still put in just as much work as you did the year before.
Oh yeah, because I knew I was going to go up to heavyweight. I mean, like I said, at this point, I was still planning on playing football in college. So yeah. I was like, right now I'm in like a tweener weight, being 220 and like 6'3". I was like, I need to like get bigger so I can play like a middle linebacker, like a fullback or something like that. And so I was putting on weight to do that, and then I was like, I might as well just wrestle heavyweight.
Yeah, so what position did you play in high school? Linebacker?
So I played linebacker, running back, and then I played quarterback for a year.
You played quarterback?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense though, having like almost like a bigger quarterback, kind of, could take a hit or two without just laying there.
We were a read option team, so
that
helped a lot.
So, you find yourself in that state tournament again, and I'm sure you were feeling a lot more confident than you were the year before. you pretty much just went out there and sent it again, especially at heavyweight. Did you find yourself wrestling, like, kind of changing up your style a little bit, like maybe slowing it down, or did you still just went right at it?
No, I went right at it. Besides my matches with that Dan Perry guy, which were both overtime matches, I'm pretty sure I pinned everyone else in the weight class that year. So, like, even through state tournament, I pinned everybody. And, like, the kid I wrestled in state finals was the returning state champ. And I wrestled him, like, 6 times that year or something crazy like that. We were, like, in the same conference. And so, like, we just saw each other all the time. And so it was one of those things that was real comfortable. Like, I knew how to wrestle him and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you beat him all 6 times you wrestled him and just –
Yeah, I pinned him in the first every single time.
It was tough.
So you get a big first period pin in the state finals. I'm sure you were like, wow, this is where I should have been. So do you think if you were at a different weight class your freshman year, you would have been a 4-timer?
I mean, I think I could have been a 4-timer
no matter what
I was in. It just, I mean, like I said, I think I choked, honestly. And, but I mean, at 189, the weight class above, I beat the state champ, so that kind of sucked. And so, like, I beat him earlier in the year. So it was like one of those things like, hey, like, I mean, it's whatever. Like, being a 4-timer would be, like, that would be cool and all, but I'm happy where I'm at.
Hey, yeah, you still – so then it's your senior year. You kind of have to make that decision, football, wrestling. So, but by that point, you were already wrestling, right? You were already like, all right, I want to wrestle in college.
So I didn't decide until homecoming week of my football season. So I actually made my decision or announced my decision the day of my football game on homecoming. So it was like one of those things, like, I really didn't know. Like, I would say probably earlier that week, I was like, all right, I'm going to wrestle at Wisconsin. But up until then, I was like, I had no idea what I'm going to do. It was going to be I just knew it was going to be hard because, I mean, like, I'm counting down my days for football. Like, if I decide wrestling, like, these are my last days of playing football, at least for a while. So it was kind of like one of those things. It was like real tough to make that decision in the middle of football season, but I had to. So,
but could we ever see a Trent Hillger football comeback? Could we see that 5th year of eligibility be used on the football?
Hey, I've talked about it. I've considered it.
You've considered it?
Yeah.
Well, I think you see it more, like a lot more now, where you see, different athletes from different sports kind of transitioning and playing other sports. Like, I know this year, I don't know if it was Gavin or Gage Garcia from Southern Columbia, Pennsylvania. He committed to Michigan to play football and wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I saw that. That was like pretty cool from somebody around here that I noticed that was doing that. That's definitely tough, though, putting your body through,
Oh yeah.
through that, two different years. They're kind of opposite times too. So you probably wouldn't get a break very often.
Oh no. I mean, you see like a Josh Hokett do it. I mean, that dude's nuts. And he was good at both.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you manage that? And I don't know. He did obviously a really good job at it. I mean, he's in the NFL.
Yeah, he's in the NFL. Yeah.
All-American and in the NFL, not too bad.
Dude, Josh Hokett versus Bo Nickel. Did you ever see that match?
That was NCAAs, right?
He was around 16. Josh Hokett went right off the bat and then just charged at him with the inside trip.
Really?
Yeah. That's hard. He did that like 3 times too.
Did he get launched?
Yeah, he got launched every time, but full send,
Why not?
Oh, nickel. I mean, if
lose,
not too much, you might be screwed too. So.
Yeah. I always made the joke of seeing Bo Nickel at heavyweight. I always thought that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I remember he weighed in at like 195 the whole season.
Yeah.
That was without cutting at all.
Yeah, he was just comfortable walking around.
And then
so, you're 3-time state champ. I mean, there's not much more to say. Super successful career in high school. Do you know what was your final record?
I think it was 249-7. Yeah, we wrestled a ton of matches. Like,
that's a lot of matches.
Over 60 matches every year. It was brutal. It'd wear on you.
249-7.
I mean, not as many practices though.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go through the stretches, like in Jersey, you have some weeks where you just don't have a match in general because there are like some big tournaments going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every week would be 2. Like, we'd have our duel or conference duel, and then we'll have a tournament on the weekend. Yeah. So I'd get like 7 matches a week.
I mean, yeah, I honestly prefer that like over what I'm doing, right? Because I was a 3-year varsity starter. I wrestled 3 matches freshman year, and I don't even think I got 100 matches my career. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's just crazy though that you wrestled that many matches.
Yeah.
You took 7 losses, so all 7 were your freshman year.
Yeah, and it was to like the same 3 people.
yeah.
So,
Did you wrestle
Wow.
like any of like these studs like in high school?
I guess noticeable names in college. I don't know.
You didn't wrestle like Colton Schultz, Neville's, or anybody like that?
Oh, I mean, I wrestled Neville's at what term was that out in Vegas, the U.S. Open.
Mhm.
I mean, I wrestled Furman at the Pittsburgh Classic.
I mean, like in high school, did you wrestle any of them?
No, not like throughout
No.
the season.
Yes, you weren't like a Fargo or like an Escape the Rock or.
No, like our teams wouldn't do that. And I actually never went to Fargo because the one year I did go or was gonna go, I broke my hip at the junior duels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like I was thinking like you like eventually you would have like you didn't go like the Doc B or like did you go to senior nationals?
no.
No.
I really didn't do I did 0 individual summer tournaments for wrestling until I got
Yeah, because you played football. Yeah.
So I think the last thing before you go into your senior year, you know who Nash Hummatcher is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on him picking football over wrestling? You know, like he's cutting like 40 pounds a season.
I mean, hey, like that's where the money's at. And if you're gonna be really successful in football and wrestling, I mean, it's up to him. I chose the wrestling path. I don't know, it just felt right. It was like one of those things that kind of like just spoke to me, like, hey, like wrestling's the way to go, and hey, football's the way to go for him. I mean, I know Wisconsin was looking at him really bad
Yeah.
for wrestling and football, so I never really got to talk to him or get to know him. But I mean, hey, like I said, that's where the money's at. I mean, he's gonna be really successful there. The dude's an animal, and
I mean, that's just gonna take a toll though, cutting 40 pounds every year just to.
yeah, I mean, if I was cutting 40 pounds, I mean, I probably wouldn't even wrestle in high school. I
Yeah.
would have just played football if I had to cut 40 pounds for high school.
And it wasn't even like fat. Like he was like actual weight.
Yeah, no, he's big. He's an animal. And like I said, if I was that good at football and knew that I was getting recruited pretty much anywhere I wanted to go, I probably wouldn't have wrestled.
Yeah, we had like our school had like a similar situation like that. Where we had a Division I committed lineman who's going to Penn State, and you know his senior year I got hurt. I broke my leg his senior year, and I was the starter at heavyweight. So he was like, "All right, I'll come try it." Like he's like, "All right, I'll come try it once or twice." I mean, he's 6'6", 315 pounds. So, you know, he's like, wait, I have to cut all this weight. I guess he thought heavyweight was unlimited for some reason. And he's like, wait, I have to cut all this weight. He's like, yeah, no, never mind. Because it's like Penn State wanted him to be 6'6", 315. And then they turned him into – he's like – he walks around now like 6'6", 285.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you couldn't do that in high school? Like, you could have just cut a little weight for us just to, you know, just to put you out there? But, yeah, I mean, he did the same thing. He was like – he played basketball. So he was like, you know, I chose football over basketball. I mean, you don't really see anyone in the 300 club playing in college, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, so your senior year, again, you're already a 2-time state champ. I'm pretty sure you were the favorite to win the tournament. Was there any memorable matches that were close your senior year, or did you just blow through everyone?
No, I had 2 techs and the rest were pins.
Yeah, so no one was really at your level. I'm sure.
But no. I was hoping I got to wrestle. So Nick Jenkins wrestles for Central now, and he was like the heavy favorite in Division I. So I was hoping I got to wrestle him throughout the season, but it never ended up coming about. But yeah, I mean, Michigan's weird too. So they have 4 divisions.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really, really spread out, and like where these like even like where these like powerhouses for wrestling, they're spread out too. So it's kind of like one of those things that, I mean, it's hard to have like super, super deep weight classes over Michigan. So that kind of sucked. But
so was your school like known for wrestling or no?
Yeah. I mean, they've had their years. They're kind of down right now, but in a couple of years they'll be really good again. But we've had a couple really good wrestlers. We have a few wrestlers go to Michigan State. My high school teammate wrestles at NC State right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, especially in Pennsylvania, you have a lot of those schools like that too that have their good years and bad years, and they have their memorable names. Zane wrestled out here. You see a lot of these big name guys coming from like these small schools. Like Zane wrestled at Benton. Benton has they had like 2 or 3 guys that were really good, and then Zane's year they came out and just blew through everybody. And that was kind of I was live when he wrestled Yanni. They did like the remake of the Final X match, and I was live there. And you should have seen the crowd. They had a full section of just the people from his high school were there, and it was insane. It was wild.
Yeah,
it was just incredible.
I had a question. So you said you had around like 250 wins, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those were forfeits?
Way too many, honestly. I don't know, probably 40 of them.
40? Yeah.
It sucked, honestly. Like,
hey,
I don't want to sound like that typical cliche, but like I was there to wrestle, and it just kind of sucks, like getting a forfeit. Like some schools just didn't have a heavyweight.
Yeah.
But there'd be some schools that just wouldn't send their guy out.
Yeah,
So
it's like you're like the guy, right?
Yeah, like I'm not like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna hurt your kid. Like it's one of those things. Like, I just like
some guys are gonna go out there and like try to embarrass a dude. Like if you ever saw Gable in high school, remember that one match? Like where there was like a first year kid, Gable would start snapping and like and go behind like all over the place in like the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. But yeah, no, I was one of those guys. Like if I knew the kid was brand new, it'd be one of those things. Like I'd take him down, and just try pinning him right away. Like I just would avoid like trying to embarrass him or anything like that. It was just one of those.
You wouldn't like blast double him off his feet and like slam him down and crank him and.
No, it was like I want to keep growing the sport of wrestling, and once you start bullying kids like that, it like kind of ruins it for them. Because it embarrasses them, man. It's just like one of those things. Like, we just want to keep these kids in the sport.
Yeah, at the state tournament though, it's all fair game.
Oh yeah. If you make it there, it's all over them.
No, yeah. So 3-time state champ in high school. One of the better careers probably in Michigan history.
Mm-hmm.
Are there really any 4-time state champs there?
I think there's like 20 something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Adam Kuhn might be the only heavyweight 4-timer.
Yeah, but he wasn't a heavyweight every year.
No, he was 215 his first 2 years, I believe. But yeah, no 4-time all heavyweight.
Yeah, I don't think 4-time heavyweights really exist that much.
No.
Well, I'm sure one of the Nevils was a 4-time heavyweight.
I think Seth, and that was it.
Yeah.
Nick was only a 3-timer. AJ wasn't even a heavyweight.
Yeah, I think Seth was a 4-timer.
Yeah, I know Colton Schultz was a 220. Gable was like 95. Kirk
was a 220.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this with Don Bradley too. How you see all these guys like that, they don't want to make the cut to 97 in college, and they all just go heavyweight.
Yeah, but they get big,
you see so many like 220s, 225s in college heavyweight now. It's just, it's awesome. It makes it fun. It's making it like a legit weight class because there wasn't a ton of respect at the heavyweight because there's a bunch of like 270 guys. And like now seeing like all these like 250 guys or like 220 guys are moving around like they're 157. It's starting to gain respect. That's gonna be one of the toughest weight classes in the country these next few years.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, heavyweight's gonna be one to watch.
Big Ten's gonna be nuts. Like with Orendorff transferring into Ohio State too. You have Orendorff and Traub at the same school. Like I don't know how that's gonna go down. You have Kirkley and Neville's at the same school. Just those schools like in general, like together. Like those are 4 really good wrestlers, and they have to figure out between 2 spots.
Yeah.
I have my opinions on that. I think honestly, I've been saying this. I think we can honestly see a Neville's transfer. I don't think he's gonna stay at Penn State if he's not at that starting spot. I feel like he could be useful somewhere else. You could see him at an Iowa. A transfer like that could happen. Somewhere like that.
Why would he go to Iowa?
Why not?
Yeah, COP majored him, dude.
Because the last guy that transferred out of Penn State went to Iowa as well. Gavin Teasdale.
Yeah, he would go somewhere he would start,
who knows?
Like he could go to Penn if he's smart enough to get in there.
He could go to Penn, yeah.
and then that he's in the EIWA, easy fourth place bid right there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's going to be wild to see how this goes, see who starts, see who doesn't. I hate to see Gaston Gary not in the Ohio State singlet, but, whatever happens, happens. He said he can't wait to get his hands on Orndorff.
Got to wrestle whoever's there.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say?
Let's talk about his
Big Ten. They have like 7 bids, I think, last year. If the weight class gets stronger, you know how there's only up to 8th place matches. Is there a possibility that they would extend that to like a 9th and 10th place match?
Are you talking about big times?
Yeah.
So some weight classes they even have up to 11th place matches at some weight classes. Like if they bring 10, I think it was like 57 my freshman year, they brought 10, so they'd have 11th place match.
That would suck losing that 10 and 11 match.
It would be 11-12. Yeah, 11-12.
Or 11-12, yeah.
Like the winner of that, like if someone couldn't make it, then the 11th place guy would be pushed in right away.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you see like how like the Big Ten's like always been up there. But like at heavyweight, you see like random guys coming out of like wherever, like Stencil coming out the MAC. You have guys like Jordan Wood out of the IWA, and then you have like Tanner Hall, Colton Schultz out of the Pac-12. And it's just like all over the place. So you can't really rely on all the talent like being in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
They all have like different looks they present,
Oh yeah, I mean like wrestling or heavyweight's just a completely different animal. Every person has a different style.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that like you have to try preparing for all these different sort of styles, and you don't see a lot of them. Like I'm lucky I see Stencil at at the Midlands, but like never wrestled Tanner Hall in my life.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things. Like I mean, obviously he's really good and an All-American. So it's like one of those things. Like I never got my hands on, never got to feel him. So it is hard. Like Jordan Wood, never got to wrestle Jordan Wood either. And obviously another really good wrestler, All-American. So having guys coming from different conferences is good for heavyweight. Just like having all these like really good wrestlers and not just like all piled into one conference, but not being able to feel them kind of sucks too.
Yeah, you kind of get like you're just like, oh well, I've never wrestled this guy before, so you're kind of relying on like film and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll jump right into your college career. You're at the University of Wisconsin. You're like, did you redshirt or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, redshirt.
Yeah, like how'd that season go?
It went all right. I guess the biggest name I wrestled Gremmel, I think 2 or 3 times, but I think I think he redshirted that year too.
Did you beat him?
I lost to him the first time, then I beat him the next 2 times.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think that was the biggest name. I wrestled actually at the Michigan State Open. I wrestled Cam Teacher, who I believe was the D2 national champ that year, or might have been runner-up or something like that. But I had an all right year. I don't know, like my confidence level just wasn't the same as it was in high school. I didn't really know why. So I wasn't getting my attacks off like I was hoping or like I used to. So it's kind of like this mental game, like why am I not like doing the stuff I used to? Like why am I not? I mean, like college is a different game. Like that's like everyone's the best of the best there. And so it was like a mental game. My whole redshirt year, I had a battle that like I just was frustrated with myself, and it just wasn't helping that I was battling myself and battling whatever I was going on, like with not getting my attacks off. But I was able to figure it out towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's the main thing you see like in college, like you're so much stronger than everybody in high school, and then in college you're all even again. You gotta work your way back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like like your freshman season, I think you're ranked like 10th or 12th coming into the season.
So I actually wasn't ranked going into my freshman year. Yeah,
Okay.
I beat Jake Gunning my first match. He was 19th. That put me up to 19th, like right away. That was my first match. Yeah.
So that's your first ranked win of your career.
Yeah. We wrestled Buffalo for our first duel.
It's obviously that's probably your biggest match. It's your first match. It's one of your first matches of that season. You have a ranked dude. Like, what do you feel like going into that match?
I mean, I was extremely nervous. There's just so many things. Like my first college match, my first home college match, my first ranked opponent, and it was just all these things are like adding up, and I had to keep like getting back to myself, like focus on like it's just me and him. Like just remember like what I went over in film and like what I had to do to beat this guy that we went over in the room. And I knew like there was only a few things that he had, so like I just had to make sure I had to defend those and like counter it. And I knew that like riding would be a big thing, so that was another thing. Like just make sure like I just with most of my matches, I just got to make sure I get back to doing what I'm good at and making sure I do what I'm good at instead of trying to wrestle other people's matches. So it was just one of those things like I told myself like wrestle your match and you'll beat them. And I ended up wrestling my match.
So you're in the Big Ten. Obviously, you have an extremely hard schedule set out for you. You have like a bloodbath ahead of you. You know, if you had guys like Anthony Cassar who ended up winning the national title, Gable Steveson, who was like the guy coming into the season. I mean, those are the two main guys in the Big Ten. And you had guys like, yeah, you know, that was really it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two guys that really like they put up points. You know, like what was your mindset going into like those two matches?
It was to slow them down. It was like people like that, like you can't try getting into shootouts with them because they're going to beat you every single time. And it's just one of those things that if I knew I could keep it like a 3-2 match in the third period or a 4-1 match in the third period, I knew like it was like winnable. Like I just need 1 or 2 takedowns and like that's it. Like I didn't want to try getting into a match. Like that's where my mistake has been with Gable, wrestling Gable all these times. Like he's probably the best reattacker in the country, all weight classes.
Yeah.
And I'm not a guy that's going to sit around and watch him wrestle. I'm not going to guy sit around and like hand fight with him the whole time. Like I'm going to take shots. I'm going to get my shots off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hurt me against him, honestly. And it's just going to be one of those things like with a Kassar in the NCAA tournament, like it was really slow pace. I like slowed the pace down a lot. I ended up losing 4-0, but like it was like a game plan of mine to like try keeping it like a 1 or 2 point match in the third. And I mean, I just couldn't get out was my issue. If I got out, like it was all part of like my game plan. But
like a guy who puts up that many points, you know, if he's only winning 4-0 against like in his eyes, you're just a freshman at that point, right? It doesn't matter that you placed fourth or third in Big Ten that year. You know, he beat Gable. He's trying to just like tech his way through the entire field until he gets to Gable, right?
Mm.
And then that might put a little bit of doubt in his mind, you know, at that point. That was a quarterfinal match, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, he has Gable the next match in the semis, right? Maybe a little bit of doubt's going into his head into that match. And that's like the big thing you're really trying to do to an extent.
Yeah.
So, I think one of your biggest matches was against Maryland. You had Yusuf Hamida, who's a returning All-American. I think you were ranked 10th at that point, and he was ranked 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So not too much of an upset, but it was big in the sense that you're knocking off a returning All-American.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who presents like a lot of unique challenges. You know, he's in a lot better shape than most guys. He's probably around that 6'5" range. You know,
Yep.
Extremely lean, can go upper body with guys. Like, what were you doing coming into that match?
Like once again, just getting my match. I knew I could get to his legs, and I just had to make sure I had like would be smart with my shots. I mean, he's good. He's like you say, he can go upper body. He's got a gas tank. He can go lower body. He can ride. He can get out. And it's just like one of those things that he's the full package. And I just had to make sure I just kept wearing down on him. And eventually, when I was able to get to his legs, I took him down off of it, and that ended up being the decider. And the 2 matches I won, that was the decider. And it was just like one of those things. Like I just got to get to my match, got to make sure I just keep wrestling. Like I ended up riding him out the whole first period, which was huge. I took him down, got minute 30 of riding time going in the second. So it's like one of those things. Like my confidence, like through the roof. Like I was like, I can ride this guy. Like I can take him down. And I just gotta keep wrestling this match. I just gotta keep just doing things smart. Don't do anything stupid. And just like I knew it. Like I said, I knew I could get to his legs. I just had to make sure I actually followed through with that.
Yeah, so that's obviously pretty much your biggest win of your career, like up until that point of the season. You know, next we'll talk about the match I want to talk about. Sam Stoll, you know, the guy was a god coming into college. You know, he was up there, and then the incident happened. You know, and then he started dropping matches to like random guys. He lost to David Jensen, I think 5-0, and he ended up losing to Jacob Avon of Purdue at Big Tens, which they did a whole Flow Radio Live thing about him. Like coming into that match, just talk about it.
So he wrestled David Jensen either the Friday before or the week before, and I saw David Jensen put in legs and ride him out for 6 minutes, something like that, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that put a ton of confidence into me. Like, I mean, I know I'm one of the best riders in the country, and I'm one of the best leg riders probably in the country, all weight classes. And it was like one of those things that like if I get on top, I know I'm going to beat him. I know I'm going to be able to ride him out, if not turn him. So it was one of those things I was kind of contemplating either I pick top like Jensen did.
Yeah.
And like just to get that riding time point and like see like what he did. And but I mean it was just one of those things like, yeah, he's a big, strong dude. I mean he's good. Like what was he, 2-time All-American? So he's like you gotta like gotta give him the respect. And you can't go in the match like see him like dropping these matches. Like he's still Sam Stoll. He still has that like that mental like ability that he did in the past. Like his just wasn't as athletic as he used to be with like the whole incident. And so I just had to wrestle a smart match, and like I said earlier, just got to make sure I get on top, and I knew I could beat him there.
Yeah. So first period is gonna be scoreless. He's a big Greco guy. He loves that 2-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
You love him that spin out of the Russian.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that too, just because it's fun.
It is fun.
My coach would yell at me every time, though. So you end up picking neutral because obviously he's one of the better top riders, And as a freshman at heavyweights, obviously it's going to be a lot harder to get out from bottom. So you pick neutral, 0-0. Again, I think it was again scoreless, right?
Yep.
I don't think any real shot attempts because again he's a guy you really don't want to get stuck under.
Mm-hmm.
Third period, he really doesn't have a choice but to pick bottom or go to overtime, where you're obviously in a lot better of a shape than he is with everything going on. And plus, he around like that 280 range too. So he picks bottom, and that's where he's susceptible. So, like, what was your mindset like right after you picked bottom? Like, what were you thinking?
I was like, thank God. Because I really don't want to like go into overtime with a guy like that. I knew I was confident going into overtime. I was completely okay being scoreless every time we were neutral.
Mm-hmm.
We did go into overtime. I'm like, I'm going to ride him out. So I just got to get out if we do go no double overtime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was extremely excited when I saw I picked down, and it was just like, here's my chance. Like I'm either going to win or lose it here. So, and I just had to had to be confident in my ride and know he was susceptible to the leg ride, and just had to get my legs in, and I was good from there.
Yeah. So I remember you had like double legs in, and then you were like draped over him, like about to fall off. Like,
yeah.
Was there like any fear in your mind at that point? Like, oh, maybe I should bail
out? Once I was there, I was like, I shouldn't bail out, but in the whole process of everything happening, I was like, I really can't give a reversal right now.
Yeah.
And but I've been in that position so many times, and being a leg rider, you're going to get yourself caught in a lot of really bad positions, just like through practice, through whatever, like when you first start doing leg riding, like, and I'm a high hip leg rider, so I'm going to end up a little bit higher than even some other leg riders will. And it's just one of those things, like, you just got to have, like, I was able to catch the arm on the way through, and I mean, thank God I did, because that's what held me up there. And he was eventually able to just like roll through and bail out, which got me in really good position and secured the minute of riding time. And once I got there, I was like, okay, I can be like a little bit safer on top, because I know I have my minute, and I don't want to like have to do anything risky to like make sure I got my riding time point. So I was like, I can give up an escape if I really have to.
And then it would be tied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So, and then would that count as you having the first point scored, or?
So it would go into overtime, and yeah, I think he would have got first point scored because
riding time is like putting that for the match.
Yeah.
But they don't have like any ultimate ride out. Like you get out, you win.
Yeah, no, it's just like the 1 minute overtime, 2 minute ride out, or 2 minute ride, or 2 30-second ride, and then 1 minute sudden victory, then another 2 30-second ride.
And then it's who has the most riding time after that.
Yeah, most riding time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you technically would have won if it went to that point. So to an extent, So the biggest tournament, like of your career right now? You're trying to get that bid to nationals. You were in the Big Ten tournament. I think you had a 3 seed coming in.
I had the 4 seed because I gave them the semis. Paris got the 3 seed.
Oh, okay. Did you wrestle Paris at all that season?
I lost in my Midlands in the quarterfinals. It was like 9-8 or something like that.
You lost him in the quarterfinals?
At Midlands.
Midlands?
Yeah,
So it was again another high scoring match,
Yeah.
Again, 2 freshmen, you're pretty gonna be versatile with your offense a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Paris is coming off a big season too, taking out Mark Desi in his first match. Kind of shocked some people.
Mm-hmm.
So who'd you have in the quarterfinals? You didn't have a round 16 match, did you?
No, because I was the only one that had a bye. Because I was before they did like the seeding with the bye, so it was just a random bye, and I was lucky enough to get it. And I had Singletary in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, so he's another tough dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a 3-1 match also.
Yeah. I got to take.
I saw you getting on he was like a righty low single or something like that on him. So again, he's another tough guy to wrestle. And it's hard when you wrestle guys smaller than you. It's either for me, it's either go upper body or get snatch single. Really, if I wrestle guys bigger than me, it's hard sweep single or high crotch. How'd you go into a match? Because you're used to wrestling guys bigger than you at this point.
Yeah. So when I wrestled in the duel, I knew I could ride him, so I rode him out there, and that's always something back of my head that I know I can get my riding time point. So it allows me to give me more confidence in neutral, and he has a very interesting left leg lead in his style, and he he kind of taps it a little bit, and so it's one of those things I'm gonna try timing it, and I timed it right.
Yeah.
And but I love guys that left leg lead like that, because I prefer to shoot to my right side. That's where my single side is. Mm-hmm. So it worked out perfect. He was left leg lead.
Because I remember Don Bradley told us the same thing yesterday. A guy comes out with the left leg lead, you're getting blast doubled every time. Yeah, he's that's what I did to Anthony Casara 3 times. So it's Don Bradley's a tank with that.
Oh yeah.
You're a guy, you love that low sweep single, stuff like that. You hit it on Christian Ribitaro a few times in that match,
Mm-hmm.
He was solid every time, same exact thing, same exact finish, just not really stoppable at heavyweight.
Mm.
So,
I just keep going until it stops working. Don't fix what's broken.
So how do you feel coming into this season now, seeing that Singletary's at 97?
Orendorff and Traub are both really good competitors up there at heavyweight. I've had some incredible matches with both of them. Orendorff's had some real nerve-wracking matches. But Singletary, he was didn't he major Demetrius Thomas before he got
no, it was a 10-7 decision, I think.
10-7. He was wrestling well, because didn't he placed at
Jordan Wood, though.
He did beat Jordan Wood.
No, that's not Chase Singletary. No, he didn't.
But he was wrestling well before he got hurt, so it was one of those things he's really turned the corner, he's gonna be dangerous this year. So I think he's gonna do really good at 97. And we were actually teammates out at the Pittsburgh Classic our senior years. He was 220, I was the heavyweight, and he's a really good dude, and he's really good wrestler too. And I think things would do really well down there because his athletic style. He was just really small at heavyweight, just real skinny. He wasn't super tall and real skinny. Mm-hmm. But he just wasn't a super big dude. And I think that ran into some issues, just running into steps, and that's just the size.
Yeah. So your freshman year, you had some issues getting adjusted to the style of the different guys, especially the bigger guys. You might have dropped a couple matches that you probably should have won. Mm. Was it the guys Matt Stencil, Carter Isley, and there was another big dude. I think did you beat Conan Jennings?
I beat Isley, but Conan Jennings was the guy I lost to that.
Oh yeah, so it was purple.
Yeah.
Conan Jennings is a guy his defense is pretty good for being that big. But it's a guy who is gonna wear on you because he's extremely big, extremely good on top. Mm-hmm. And you adjust to that this season a lot better.
Yeah.
What was a big thing?
I just needed to just get some practice there. Honestly, you're it's one of those things that like my redshirt freshman year, I had no other heavyweight partners. So like I would wrestle at 197 the whole year. So like I never got to feel a 6'6", 285-pound guy wear on me.
Yeah.
And so like just not having that feel, and just that freshman year was kind of like that help, like, hey, like just like this is like the size, like this is like the maximum of like what this like you're gonna feel with size and height, and like just because he was really good at using his size. And so like having that feel, and I have like a heavyweight partner this year, a heavyweight coach, and so like that really helped a lot, like just getting used to like that size just to wear on you.
Yeah. So you could kind of think back to like when you were practicing with Adam Kuhn, how that kind of could have helped you a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I mean that helped a lot. Like if I had zero help like that, I mean I would have been screwed with anyone bigger than me.
Yeah. So, you're in the Big Ten semifinals. You drop a 9-4 match to Gable in the beginning of the year. Big Tens, it's pretty much the same situation. So you kind of try to play the shootout game with them a little bit. It didn't go your way. You get dropped into consolations. You need to win a match to get back into third, fourth. And you wrestled I think. Who'd you wrestle there?
Jensen.
Yeah, Dave Jensen from Nebraska. Another extremely good style match. You guys basically have the exact same style, except his is more just like straight on singles, and you both ride legs, and he's just about probably right at 285 also. Like, what was your thought going into that match against a guy who's like, who can ride on top very good, is very athletic also, and
Yeah, just like get to my shots. I really didn't get to my shots against them, but pre-match I was kind of telling myself like, hey, get to your shots and like be careful from him. He's dangerous. I mean, I think he pinned Paris the match before with a cradle, like so it was like one of those things. Like, I mean, the dude's long, the dude's good on top, the dude's good in scrap position like that. So it was like one of those things, just like you gotta be careful with someone like him. And like you said, athletic too, so he's not afraid to take low shots if he needs to. And that happened with my match against him this year in the quarterfinals in Big Tens.
Yeah.
Like he came and shot a low single right away. Like, I mean, that it kind of shocked me, honestly. But I mean, he's athletic enough to do it, and it was just one of those guys that I knew was more athletic, so I just gotta like just use that and have confidence in that. And it came down to like whatever the second ride out or whatever. It was like 4 overtimes. We were by far like the last match there, and I like we were just both exhausted. I was able to get a reversal, and he got out, and that was the deciding factor of the match.
Yeah, so you're in the third, fourth match again. You have Hamida, the match was like a dogfight the last time, right? Extremely physical. It honestly depends on who can get on better attack, right? Match doesn't go your way this time, Like how
he got that it was a one takedown match. It was one of those matches that whoever got the takedown was probably gonna win, and he got it in the third.
Yeah. So, you're heading to nationals, you're a national qualifier as a freshman, obviously a big achievement. You're not where you want to be yet. So, of course, you're looking at the bracket. Again, everybody did. The bracket was like all over the place, You have Derek White getting the 1 seed just because he had the win over Kassar at the sudden scuffle. And then you have Kassar versus Gable as a semifinal match, which is a match that most people are looking forward to at heavyweight, right? But for you realize that you have the 10 seed and Hamida as the 7 seed, right? So you really only have to win one match and you get the rematch.
Yeah.
So you both end up winning your first matches. You have that rematch. You split matches with the guy early in the season. Like, what's your mindset coming into that?
Wrestle like I did in the first match, if that makes sense. Just be more aggressive. Make sure I get to my shot first. And like in the third, fourth place match at Big Tens, I was kind of like too confident. I was like, because he never got to my legs or anything. I was like, yeah, he's just like he won't get to my legs. Like whenever I want to shoot, I'm gonna score and win. Yeah. And it was kind of like one of like lazy mentality. And I just had to get to my shots. Like, I was like, I know I can beat this guy, and I just have to make sure like I get to my shot first. I have to get to hit my offense first, and I ended up doing that. I ended up coming on top.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the bigger wins. You're You're in the quarterfinals now. You need to win one match to be a guaranteed All-American, but it's easier said than done when you have Anthony Cassar. You know,
Yeah.
again, it's a lot closer of a match this time than it was the last time. Last time, again, you're at Penn State as a freshman. Like, there's obviously gonna be a little bit of nerves running through you.
Oh yeah, that's
the biggest environment.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's a 4-0 match again, pretty controlled on both ends. You know, it wasn't like he handled you, but it was like it was pretty controlled win. Probably wasn't going to go the other way at that point, but it showed a lot. Like you probably proved a lot to yourself. Okay, I can keep it close with the guy who's the best in the country right now. Now let's just win this one match to become an All-American, right? So you have one match, the blood round, right?
Yeah.
You're wrestling. It would have been Conan Jennings, but Zach Elam ended up beating him in double overtime. Elam is a guy who's really underrated. You know, he went to overtime with Derek White in that match. You know, again, he's a smaller guy. And he's kind of like you in the sense, like, he practices with, like, a bigger guy in Dom Bradley every day. They used to practice with Adam Kuhn all the time. So it's not like you either are going to get freaked out by the size. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Like, going into this, you're obviously going to have a lot more pressure on you than you do in most of your other matches because it's do or die at this point. Like, what was that like?
The pressure was insane. Like, honestly felt like everyone was like watching. I know they weren't because the semifinals were going on, but it was like one of those things like you felt like everyone was watching you, and like the pressure was kind of suffocating, honestly. And I put too much pressure on myself like before that match, and I honestly didn't wrestle well. I mean, it was a 1-0 match, and it was because I got out and he chose neutral. And so, I mean, I wrestled horrible, honestly, but I mean, I ended up getting it done. But the pressure was just crazy, and it was just one of those things that, like, ever since I was a little kid and like started making goals for myself in wrestling, it's like I want to be an All-American. It's like ever since I was 6 years old, I want to do this, and like here's the chance. And like I said, I put too much pressure on myself. In the beginning, and it caused me to not wrestle well. But I mean, I ended up getting the job done, and thank God. But
I mean, you know, the blood rounds, like, in my opinion, those are like the blood round, the semifinals are the two best rounds to watch, you know, because you have guys battling back from like sometimes even like a 30 seed or something. And then sometimes in some brackets in high school, you don't see a lot at the D1 level. In the state tournament at heavyweight in New Jersey, you have the 1 seed and the 2 seed both in the blood round. It's like the 3 and the 4 seed. The 4 seed lost in the round of 24 wrestle back. The 3 seed lost in the round of 16. It was insane, you know.
Crazy.
Our state champ was a freshman, Jimmy Mullen. You probably know who that is. Yeah, he was a 13 seed. It was all over the place. So you basically just had a 1 seed in the blood round against a guy who was like a 25 seed. And the 1 seed's just like, oh, I was supposed to win the tournament this year, but now I'm in the position like I really can't lose at this point. Let's at least just get on the podium. You have 25 seeds, be like, oh, I was supposed to wrestle like an 8 seed here, you know, but then I'm stuck against the 1 seed. Let's just give them everything I got, you know.
Yeah, let loose.
Yeah, but you know, like all the stress is taken off you after that match.
Oh yeah.
Elam was a freshman, also, I think. Yeah. So all the pressure's taken off you. You're automatically on the podium.
Yeah.
And then you get to you have a chance to place third now. You know, that's obviously the end goal. But if you place at all, you're going to be happy at that point. Freshman season, All-American. That's why most guys try to make it to the semifinal. Worst you can do is 6, right?
Yeah.
So in that match, in the consolation quarterfinals, you have Amar Desi, right?
Yeah.
Amar Desi, you know, a guy who, you know, just wasn't a good matchup for Gable. Got blasted in that match, really.
Yeah.
He's obviously a very accomplished guy. Placed in third the year before. You know, almost beating Adam Kuhn to make the finals. It was literally a takedown the last 20 seconds for Kuhn. Like, again, he's a very accomplished freestyle wrestler too. You know, he's very athletic. Can get on his low shots also. Can ride on top. And he's a senior also compared to you being a freshman, you know. Like, going to that match where you, like, your mindset's obviously more relaxed in the sense of, like, this match doesn't mean too much. Either I'll go out to wrestle, have fun, and just give it everything I have.
Yeah, I was too satisfied with where I was at. It was like, okay, it wasn't a good mentality to have, but like I was like going in a match like, all right, already All-American, whatever. and like I know I could have placed higher because we were having a really good match, and then I did something stupid. I did like a inside step stand up, and he cradled me and pinned me off of it,
Yeah.
and it was just something I never do. I never do an inside step stand up, and he called me for me. Like you say, he's a really, really veteran guy, knows what he's doing, and he called me on it. He called me being lazy. And like I said, I just had way too relaxed of a mentality going into that match. I was just like, all right, I did it. I'm All-American, whatever. I'm already here. And I think that was a big issue with that. But yeah, like he's really good. And it was one of those things that it was going to be a dogfight no matter what, even if I did have the perfect mentality for it. But yeah, I just feel like me mentally didn't give myself like a good enough shot or a good enough situation to win it. And I kind of screwed myself.
Yeah, like the cradle's his move off of that. Like he'll catch guys like standing up without wrist control and stuff and just come right at you with it.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what was it? Hamida ended up in the 5-6 match also. He beat Matt Stencil to get there. Stencil, what was it? He held the pin record for the NCAA that year, you know. He's obviously very good on top at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're in that match. Stencil's a sophomore, I think, and you're a freshman. You might be a little bit mentally just like, maybe I threw that match. Maybe I could have been there. You know, a guy who I beat now placing higher than me. So how are you feeling going into that match?
I was really bothered by that, honestly. Like knowing I beat Hamida twice earlier that year, and like now he's gonna place higher than me, and I beat him at the NCAA tournament, and now he's gonna place higher than me. So it was like one of those things that I was like really irritated, and it was like, and going into the match, I still had like the same mentality. I was just kind of like, all right, I already All-American, like whatever, and like it wasn't a good mentality to have. Like I should have just been there. Like might as well win my last match of the year. Might as well place as high as I can. But I mean, Stencil's is also just like a very interesting style and like body style to wrestle. He's extremely flexible, super dangerous, and it was just one of those things that he's just so hard to wrestle. And I'm a big guy and watching a ton of film, and like with the Desi and Stencil match, didn't watch any film. So it was kind of like one of those things that like I said, I just kind of I was too lackadaisical with my process and trying to prepare myself for those matches. And
You know,
it
if you ever saw the Matt Stencil versus Mason Paris blood round match, you know, again it was kind of like you versus Mardezi, but the sense like Paris took a bad shot, got cradled immediately off it, and got pinned right there. You know, Paris didn't have the greatest tournament. You know, he lost to Sam Stoll, but he was all over the place. You know, Sam Stoll should not be 28 seed in any bracket.
No.
He had a 5-3 match with Gable in the Big Tens, and then he goes to lose to Jacob Avon. Just consistency wasn't there from him that year.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like he could have very well placed third in that bracket, or he could have just not placed at all. And he ended up losing in the blood round to Hamida. So, you know, but you're an All-American. You know, you placed 8th. There's only way you can really go is up from there. You know, you have Kassar, who should have been gone. He's not, but you have guys like Hamida leaving. You have guys like Mardezi leaving. So, and you have Derek White who's leaving also. So, you know, the top 5 guys in the country are coming back, and your goal is to win national title the next year, of course, right? So you come into your sophomore year. Anthony Kassar declares that he's gonna come back for another year. Did you think he would?
Oh yeah. I didn't think he was satisfied, and I kind of thought like if I was in that position, I probably would have came back too. So I wasn't like super surprised that he came back. I mean, it's like one of those things like you're like getting greedy, like, oh, I want it, like let's do it again. Yeah. And it would be kind of hard to say no if you had another chance.
Yeah, I get that, of course. You know, so what are you ranked? I think 5th coming into the season.
Something like that, yeah.
I think you should have been ranked. Yeah, you're the 5th, like returning All-American. You know what I'm saying? At that point. Yeah. So you come into the season, you know, you're doing pretty good, but then the whole 1 week happens where all the rankings go all over the place. You know, you have guys like, I don't know who Cassiope beat, but I think it was like the week before your match with Cassiope, he knocked off I think Neville's, right?
I can't remember who it was. But
But he knocked off somebody good.
yeah.
And then you have the whole match with Tate Orndorff beating Demetrius Thomas. Singletary beat Demetrius Thomas. Demetrius Thomas ended up beating Jordan Woods 16-10 in a crazy match.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers all over the place, and and then Gable is still suspended because of the other incident, and he's not there. Kassar's just chilling in the first place spot, just pinning everybody he walks into, not really facing any high level competition yet. And then it's really all over the place, You're sitting there I think number 5, and then Orndorff ends up with number 2, right? And then Cassiope's still sitting somewhere like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Freshman rankings are conservative at heavyweight.
Yeah, they're not going to rank freshmen higher than, unless they beat someone in a redshirt year, they're going to be unranked in the year.
You still have Kirk ranked 16th, and he's been All-American. There's no doubt about that. And so you're into this, your Utah Valley match. I think it's like 3 or 5 versus 2 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Big match for you. Orndorff is on the hot streak at that point, and it's at Utah Valley, so. And you pin him in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was it going into that match again?
So, I don't know if you saw the match I had the year previous, my freshman year with him, but he threw me to my back, and I was down 6-0 starting off the match pretty much. But, I knew that, I was able to get to my offense. I was able to come back. I was able to get, 3 or 4 takedowns or something like that on him to come back from that. So, I knew that I was capable of getting my offense, but he actually switched up his style a lot, which was extremely shocking to me. Because, last year or our freshman year, he was a huge, just upper body guy. Wouldn't even consider touching the legs. And, he took, a bunch of shots against me. So it was, one of those things, it kind of caught me off guard. And with, a lot of my matches that are closer like that, I kind of rely on my riding to just as a backup. Because, if I do go into, these double overtimes or whatever like that, I know I'm going to be able to at least get more riding time than these guys. So I know I have a really good gas tank because we do so much conditioning over in Wisconsin that I know I'm going to be in good shape. I know I'm going to be able to ride. I'm going to get out on 99% of guys. So it's just one of those things that if I see an opportunity, I got to take it. But I'm not gonna push it too much. He's another dangerous guy.
Yeah. So I didn't talk about Sam Stoll. After the match, what happened right there. I know Sam Stoll is not. He said in an interview, you seen the matches against Jacob Casper. He throws the ankle bands at him. You seen that? What was your first reaction to that? You're walking back to the center, he just pushes you out of the way.
So I was kind of just irritated for some reason. I don't know, probably because we just got our butt whooped by Iowa. I think I was the only one that won a match. Yeah. So, and then it was just one of those things that when I'm in a wrestling mode, I just am super irritable, just super high strung. And as soon as he did that, it just kind of set me off. All right, come on. I just beat you. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. I overreacted, honestly, but it was there's just no need for him to do that either.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, sorry, I missed what you said.
So when they're after he beat us, Stoll, they're walking back to center, and Stoll pushes him out of the way, and then they start talking. Really, they send you back to the locker room, I think, right?
Yeah, they won't even let me shake hands.
Yeah, especially against a team like Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know. You versus DeSanto in a fist fight. I don't know.
No. What's it called? You saw that in the match against Gable and Stoll, right? After the match, Gable's a guy who's going to do a lot of things to try to get under your skin, A match like that. What do you do? He'd be the guy, he loves mat returning guys just to piss him off.
Mm-hmm.
He did that to Sam Stoll, just dropped this dude right on his head. And then
if you're strong enough to pick up a guy like Sam Stoll and drop him on his head, hey.
And he knows that Sam Stoll's a guy who's going to play along with that too. So that's the funny part.
Yeah, that was a perfect matchup for him mentality-wise.
Yeah. I see Sam Stoll was dominant upper body in that match. And then Gable's in double overs. You think he's just going to back out of bounds. He hits a fireman's carry out of that. He was the weirdest thing I saw. And that just shows like how versatile his offense is.
Oh yeah.
Like he doesn't even like actually penetrate through a shot. It just looks like he drops down, and the guy just falls right over him.
He just is able to switch his direction so well. That just makes people look really slow like that. So
yeah, it's crazy to see that. But getting back to your match with Orndorff, right? After the match, you scream like, "This is my weight," right?
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd they didn't like that,
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite celebrations.
I was hearing a lot of crap from the crowd that whole time I was out there. When I'm warming up, I hear people walking by just chirping at me. We're like right, our seats were right by the student section, so they're chirping at me specifically the whole time. So I mean, they know that we have the big match.
Yeah.
And so like the whole time I was hearing stuff from this crowd, and it was like all these like emotions because I mean it's just like a really high level match, and then like I ended up pinning him too, and it's just one of those things. I was just like, I was just getting back at the crowd really, just like shutting them up. So
I mean, were they,
That one is good. That's a really good after celebration. I mean, Don Bradley after he hurt Kassar. I mean, grown ass man strength. I think that's another good one that I've heard.
Dude, I have no idea why anybody would pick Kassar over Don Bradley in a freestyle match.
Yeah.
No, Don Bradley's incredible freestyle.
The fact that he's like his body type is like the perfect for like hidden blast doubles on guys.
He's kind of.
It's crazy.
He's kind of stocky, short and stocky.
Like he could very well get the Olympic spot next year. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? This whole world, like the whole Olympic thing, is crazy.
Especially with a freestyle savvy guy like Kirkflake coming in too. Yeah. So where were we at? Tate Orndorff, and then you have a match. You're ranked second in the country at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Then Cassiope comes along. But even though like the rankings were off, Cassiope was still going to be the favorite coming to that match.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like Cassiope again, I think it was like a world medalist, something like that.
Yeah.
Extremely freestyle savvy. His re-attack game is only really better by a guy like Gable, right?
Mm-hmm. You
end up playing it just like a little bit weird, You get in on a shot, but then he hits that re-attack on you.
Mm-hmm.
And against a guy like that, you really don't want him on bottom. He's not a leg or anything, but he's solid in all positions. It's like what was like takeaway from that match? Because I know you guys didn't wrestle again.
It was kind of just like move on. Like like after the match, like I mean I'm riding a high. I'm number 2 in the country, my highest ranking since I've been in college, and like I'm like on top of the world. And I mean I going in the match, I know I can beat a guy like Cassiope, and so like I'm confident going in, and he ends up beating me. And it was one of those things like you had to move on. Like you can't dwell on this. Like I'm gonna get like other opportunities at him. So I mean he out wrestled me. It's just as simple as that. He got his back off, and it was an escape or reversal escape and then escape, and that was the match. It was, and I just couldn't get a takedown in the third. So it was just one of those things that, like it sucked, but you can't let those matches affect you at the end of the season.
Yeah. Cassiope was a guy, like he was talked about, like a guy who could knock off Gable this season too. Like, he's extremely solid out of all positions, But now we'll get into like Mason Parris is another match, Parris was like the guy who had all the hype this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He pinned Cassiope in that match. A bunch of weird occurrences, like reverse angle picks and stuff. You don't see that stuff like that. But then your match was like, you guys have like a perfect style fit, Two guys who are just gonna go all out with their attacks all over the place, really. But then it kind of got shut down. It was a 3-1 match, A lot people were expecting him to pin you and all that, but then the match gets extremely shut down 3-1, and it really could go either way if it were to happen again,
Mm. I mean, he's my favorite guy to wrestle against in NCAA. I mean, because of that style matchup that we have. I mean, we're both going to let go, and we both can scramble. We both can ride. We both can get out. It's just one of those like really exciting matches to be a part of every single time we wrestle. And but yeah, like, I mean, I heard everyone saying like, he's gonna attack me or pin me, whatever. Like, I mean, like, come on. Like, it was like one of those things. Like, the guy's good, but I mean, I was like, I'm gonna beat him, and we had a really good match, really close match, a lot of fun. Almost got a takedown at the end. We got a takedown out of the first, so it was like one of those things that it could go either way. Like you said, it was wrestled again. So
You know, no, I'm not gonna bring it to World Trials, but that's you know what, like you won the first match. It shows like you guys are equal, and then you end up getting caught by the dump. And then I'm looking at when they had this whole virtual NCAA thing going on Twitter. I see what was it? It says Hilger's up 4-2 on Mason Paris, and Paris hits a dump that comes back to win 6-2. And you're like, damn, I saw that dump coming every time.
yeah, you gotta have some fun with that. I mean, I respect the dude, so I mean, if he could hit he hits the dump on almost everybody. So
Not Demetrius Thomas.
no,
Not in my virtual
No, I think he's
bracket.
definitely in on Thomas, but that's fine.
Not in my virtual bracket. He doesn't.
but I mean,
And I don't see that happening. I just had to go along with it because he tried to argue with me for like 10 minutes about that pick. But yeah, you have like solid matches with all these guys, Then Gable, like shut down the pace. It's just a whole different beast to try to tame right there.
mhm.
Like he could very well be Olympic gold medalist next year. You never know.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on this quickly. Like, once you found out that you weren't gonna get a shot, like, how did that feel mentally? That like you figure out, I'm done wrestling for this season. Like, was that like a hit to you, where you were like, wow, I could have had a chance to be in the finals. I was definitely gonna be an All-American. Like, that definitely had to suck for you.
Yeah, no, it was heartbreaking. I mean, me mentally, I'm like, I'm gonna win it. Like, I'm gonna win it this year. Like, I'm not gonna go into the NCAA tournament not thinking I'm gonna win it.
Yeah.
So
you have like the path set out for you, right?
Yeah.
You have two guys like that you didn't beat, but like you're right there to beat. You can beat them if you get another shot. Basically, every good guy is going to cruise into the quarterfinals really in this bracket.
Mhm.
I don't think the 11 seeds really anybody, but
no, my bracket, but I know I would have had Cassiope in the quarters,
and then Paris or his version Thomas, but
Mhm.
and then you're in the finals against Gable Stevenson.
I mean, anything happens there. And like I said, like if I just am able to follow my game plan, because Gable does get tired.
Yeah.
So if you are able to push the pace and keep it close that third period, I mean, especially NCAA finals, anything's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Guy like Gary Traub puts on a little bit of weight against Gable,
Mhm.
You can see it. But yeah, so,
that whole like NCAA being canceled is heartbreaking. I mean, it was one of those things that you start seeing things like get canceled, and you're like, "Come on, wait 4 more days." Like,
Yeah.
4 more days, and then you just get that news, and like our Bono ended up calling us in a meeting and told us all. And like I just remember sitting there staring at the wrestling mat, like for like 2 hours after. Like I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now? Like what? Like it's just like you never got that satisfaction of it ending.
Yeah,
So
I feel like it's got to be heartbreaking for your team as well. You got guys like Evan Wick and Seth Gross that that was his year to win it.
Mhm.
That was Gross's year to be in the finals and really be like, all right, and especially with Wick too. Wick had a good shot at it. You had a good shot at it. You had, I'm sure it was heartbreaking for everybody.
and Tristan Moran also,
Yeah, Tristan Moran. Yeah.
We had a really good team. Like I mean, we had a chance to bring a trophy home as a team.
Yeah. You see all 4 of those guys in the finals. You're bringing the trophy home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You Gross, Wick, and Moran. That's a trophy right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and sadly, that's how everybody's season ended,
Yeah.
But that's really only extra motivation coming next year,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of in the past now. You can never really be a 4-time All-American.
Yeah.
And that's like the goal, right?
Yeah.
For most guys, 4-time national champ is like unheard of, really, for the most part. You have a couple guys achieve that, like Cale Sanderson, but your goal, you All-American as a freshman, you're set out to be a 4-timer in that weight class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that you couldn't achieve that this season, you didn't even have a chance, just kind of sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean that was probably the worst part. It was like, well, like what the heck? Like now, this one thing that was like really unheard of is like these 4-time All-Americans. Like I mean, it's
especially a heavyweight.
yeah. I mean, it's more rare to have a 4-time All-American than national champ if you think about it. It's just hard to
Yeah.
be that consistent.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that it was just that was the most heartbreaking part than anything. It's like, well, like this goal is like gone, and like it wasn't in my control. Like, it wasn't my fault. It was just like taken away. And I mean, there's people in worse situations than me. You'll see like there's like Colin Morris, who was their last year, and they're like
Fletcher Moore, yeah.
like you see like a Spencer Lee who will never be a 4-time national champ, and the dude's like
Yeah.
4-time national champ. So like, I mean, there's people in way worse situations than me, and so like I don't want to be selfish about it, but it did suck. It was a hard month after.
Yeah. Then you got guys that got lucky and took Olympic red shirts, like Yanni. Yanni took an Olympic red shirt and was lucky enough that he didn't waste that year, so he could very well still be a 4-time national champ.
Oh yeah, then you see a guy who was the Princeton guy.
Pat Glory.
Pat Glory.
Was it Glory? No, there was a guy. He pulled his red shirt. It was Klosdek. Pulled his red shirt like a week before the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Like red shirt, and then like it was his senior year, so he couldn't wrestle. He wrestled like 3 matches the whole year.
Yeah, that's tough.
Or
I
something.
don't think he qualified for the trials though. So.
Oh.
But didn't Princeton win the EIWA title? Yeah, I mean, like.
Did they? I thought Lehigh won the EIWA.
No, I remember Princeton knocked off Cornell in that huge duel because Travis Stefanik beat Ben Darmstadt.
Yeah. Ben Darmstadt should not be at 84, but
he shouldn't be at 97 either. He should be a heavyweight. But they have Fernandez coming in.
Yeah, it was actually I used to wrestle Ben Darmstadt all the time. We were really good friends.
He's insanely weird to wrestle.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we went to the same leg riding camp together for like 15 years, or whatever it was.
Leg riding camp.
Yeah, Mitch Clark, baby, from Ohio State.
So another thing, heavyweights, they have a lot more. Top riding has become like a lot more of a skill that's like kind of required at heavyweight now. Mm-hmm. You have guys like yourself, Greg Kirkfleet, and you have a guy like Luis Fernandez, who you might know, probably know from Cornell. Mm-hmm. All very good leg riders, Yeah. There's like different types of it. If you have a guy like Fernandez, he's gonna be going for like those suckbacks and just try to tech people. I don't even know. What do you have, like power half from there?
Yeah, I do power half. I do suckbacks. I'll kind of look for anything that's there.
Yeah. See a guy like Fernandez is all cradles and suckbacks. Like I've never seen him run. I've seen him run power halves, but not in like the college level, Because in high school you can just run that power half and pin most guys. Mm-hmm. At the D1 level you have to be kind of like smart and conservative with it. And then you have a guy like Greg Kirkfleet, who's like, you really don't know how he's going to turn out. He's probably one of the strongest guys there, upper body strength-wise, but he also has the length to ride legs that well.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Everyone, I mean, I can't lie. Like, I haven't been talking like he's going to, I have him honestly being somebody who's, a contender for the national title. But, I mean, I do have him beating Gable. But, I mean, he could show up and just be a bust. It could happen. That can happen to anybody.
I think he's proved enough at this point where he's going to get the starting spot, right? Because he did pin Nick Neville's in like a minute.
I mean, who knows though? I mean, it's wrestling. You could wrestle the same guy 10 different times and get 10 different outcomes. It just depends on the day who's wrestling better. Maybe at the wrestle-off, Seth Neville shows up to wrestle. I think he had an underwhelming season this past season, but you know what? Hey, who knows? He could have turned it on at Nationals and been an All-American. Or he didn't qualify. He didn't qualify, right?
Yeah, at Big Tens.
Oh, yeah.
Down, some crazy stuff went down, You have guys like Jacob Warner losing too. It's interesting to see, So, you're going to be going into your junior season right now. The main thing with heavyweight, you have a lot of newcomers coming in, right? Yep. Just like all over the place. And you have a couple sophomores and juniors that are just like, it takes longer to build into your body, build into your style of heavyweight, the bigger you are. You have guys like Zachary Knight Ward from Hofstra. Even Jordan Wood is like still up there. You got like Luis Fernandez from Cornell, John Birchmeyer from Navy. And, like a lot of these guys are going to be moving up there. Yaroslav Slavkuski from Harvard is going to be up there. But the main thing is the only real two guys you're going to be losing are Tanner Hall and Demetrius Thomas from Pitt.
Yeah.
Tanner Hall is going to be replaced by a guy like Colton Schultz.
Yeah.
So, again, this is probably going to be a bloodbath. Like, guys that placed are probably not going to – some guys that placed might not place,
Mm-hmm.
Some guys that weren't expected to might place really high.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be a lot more of, like, those – you're going to have a lot more bloodbath matches just in the national tournament. Like, the round of 16, you're going to see a lot of guys get knocked off. So, like, you're going to be obviously, like, I think ranked 3rd or 4th coming in,
Yeah.
You have the Gable, Paris, Cassiope, and you. So, be 4th, right?
Yeah.
Actually, no, 5th behind Stencil.
Yeah.
All these guys present unique challenges, Gable, his re-attack game, his ability to get on tax that quick. Paris, just to strengthen that dump. Cassiope, again, that re-attack game, just the size and athleticism, just technical prowess of him. And a guy like Stencil, just his size, his top ride, and his flexibility. And then you have your ability, just the technique, the leg defense, top ride, and like all that stuff. So, in my opinion, I think it's gonna come down to like all matchups, Because I think if Gable versus Stencil goes down, I think Stencil's a guy who can knock off Gable. Because I think he's a guy who could actually defend Gable's shots a little bit with that flexibility.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone.
That was just interesting for me to look at.
Everyone presents their own challenges, so that's why heavyweights is so unique. I mean, you see someone like a Stencil who's got crazy flexibility and is just gigantic.
He was a 195 in high school too.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, what is he, like 270 now? And he's like an athletic 270. And then you see like a Cassiope who's got some of the heaviest hips you'll ever feel. He's athletic. He's also like 270. Yeah. You get a guy like Paris who's like 245 and as fast as anyone in the country. You get Gable who's like 250 and as fast as anyone in the country. Yeah. So it's just like these styles are just insane that you have to combat against and figure out.
Do you and Mason Paris ever practice together?
No. I left for Wisconsin before he came into Michigan.
Yeah, but like how he's practicing with Adam Kuhn. Do you ever when you're home in Michigan? Do you ever practice with Kuhn? Then
no, it'd just be a little weird right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd probably be awkward. Like you, Adam Kuhn, and Mason Parrish just all there, being like, "Hey guys,
I'm just asking. You have guys like Kyle Snyder and Jaden Cox who practice together all the time, like
Mm-hmm.
And they both kind of stopped each other from being 4-time national champs.
Yeah,
that one match. So yeah, no, I was just wondering. It would be a little awkward thinking about that. So, what's your opinion on this Cassiope versus Paris match for next year?
Are you asking? Like, I don't think it'll happen like it did. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, no, because people were like, "Oh, he dominated him." Like that. That's what happened in that match. But if you think about it, it could have. A lot of the points could have very easily been stopped. Mm-hmm. It looked like Cassiope just thought he could muscle his way out of the dump, which he really couldn't. And then, how often do guys get hit with like that Russian spin after you have a leg in like reverse ankle picks? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, there was a lot of like Mason Paris he has that ability to do that. So if you let him get in those positions, he'll do it every time.
Yeah.
Cassiope's a smart enough wrestler. The brands are smart enough coaches that. Like he's not going to leave his ankle out there next time. He's going to lock down more on the ankle next time once he gets to the leg, or he's not going to go down like that, like he did, and not let him spin behind.
Yeah.
And he's just too smart of a wrestler, too good of a wrestler to let that happen again. Like he did get dominated, and it was, really impressive to watch. Like as far as Paris' perspective, but I think it'll be another really close match next time. And 1-2 point match. Cassiope's so good defensively. All of it was counterattacks.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like he got the dump right away. Yeah. Which it's just one of those things. Like you're not going to know how to stop it till you feel it. You just as soon as he gets your arm locked in. It's just kind of going for a ride, hoping to give up back points. Honestly. Yeah. And but Cassiope got to his leg, and Paris countered him and did a really good job of it, but. If Cassiope crispens up like his finishes, who knows next time?
Yeah, because basically like every person I've asked about this that's not a heavyweight says that Paris is going to win. And every person that's actually a heavyweight thinks Cassiope is going to win,
I don't know who – I'm not going to say who I think's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those things like Cassiope's very athletic, very strong, very solid. Like you said, solid in all positions. Paris is like one of these like wild animals when you let him loose out there. Like he's just gonna like take 100 shots.
Yeah.
But,
And
I mean,
think
not
that
all
would
of
be
them are,
used against him.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Not all of them are good shots, but like he'll take 100 shots, and that could be go to like Cassiope's advantage, or if Paris does connect on him, I mean, it could be another blowout. So it's like one of those things that when you wrestle Mason Paris, it's gonna be always have the opportunity to be a blowout just because of his style. Like if he catches you in a dump, I mean that's a 6-point move, and now you're trying to fight from behind down 6 points against one of the best guys in the country, who's as dangerous as anyone. So
Yeah.
You
it was
saw
just everything was perfect, like lined up perfect, like incredible reattacks. It was super impressive, like through Paris's perspective, that like he was able to do that to someone that big, and it just showed off his athleticism. And I can't, but like I said, Cassiope is too smart of a wrestler, too good of a wrestler to let that happen again, in my opinion. I mean, I think it'll just be closer. I don't know who will win, but I think it'll be closer next time.
So getting back to you. So now, Wisconsin, you have the number one recruit coming in, Braxton Amos.
Mhm.
You haven't really had like a solid trading partner until now. It's going to help you a lot. So obviously, he's probably going to be going 197 as far as I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Probably going to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been really good friends for a really long time. He went to the same leg riding camp, actually, that me and Ben Armstead went. So we've known each other forever. And so it was really awesome. Like I was his host and everything. I've known the family for a super long time. He's a super great guy. And no, I'm super excited to have him in. I mean, he's one of those guys that could be a 4-time national champ. I mean, he's like, I don't think he was scored on, like I gave up an offensive point all of high school. I mean, that's unheard of. Like, no matter what state you're from.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where's he from again?
Parkersburg, West Virginia, I think.
Yeah, like not giving up an offensive point at all at a heavyweight class. Like, I mean, that's insane. But
I think he gave up escapes. That was it.
Yeah. But like not giving up a takedown or like a reversal or like even like anything, something wild happening. Like it's just crazy.
Because like when you're at that
tripped,
point, it's trying to like just throw you out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just like it's. I mean, that's incredibly impressive. Like, I'm super excited to have him in there. I'm excited to like hopefully help him become this 4-time national champ, 4-time All-American.
Definitely possible.
Yeah, like I just see this as a perfect opportunity for both of us to like make ourselves way better, and hopefully become one of the best 1-2 punches at 197 heavyweight in the country.
Is he going to be a red shirt next year? Or?
I don't know.
Like he's coming in next year.
Yeah, he's coming in next year.
Okay. Because the 197 weight class is like all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have guys like Noah Adams, Ben Darmstadt. You have like Brucky falling all the way to like 6th or 7th.
Mm-hmm.
You have a guy like Pat Brucky could very well make the move up to heavyweight. You don't know. He looks like he's come like 30, 40 pounds at least.
There's no way he's not casually walking around at 2-something. Yeah.
No, he's a gigantic. I was honestly shocked
when you saw him in person.
Yeah, like when you like see him on film, like you're like, oh, like he might be like really short or whatever. Like just like kind of put it off like it's just like a film trick. But you see him in person, like this dude is gigantic. Like how is this a 197 pounder?
Like he looks dead when you see him walking around though. Mm-hmm. Like he just looks like sucked out completely. Mm-hmm. No, it's crazy to see. Like if you see Pat Brucky versus Bo Nickel, it just doesn't look like it should have turned out like that. Just watching that match.
Yeah. But Bo Nickel was one of those guys that didn't have that super athletic build, but was just a freak.
I mean,
Bo is a freak.
Kind of jacked if he was at the weight class he should have been at. But it doesn't really matter when you're that good.
Yeah, he was just a freak.
Another match I want your opinion on is Gable Stevenson versus Kyle Snyder.
That's actually a really good question. I really want to see that match.
Yeah.
They're just so similar styles. And, I mean, right now Gable would have the size advantage, so I think you'd have advantage of that. But
not that much, though. It's like 20 pounds probably.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously Snyder would be used to him, and the dude wrestled Adam Kuhn a bunch. Yeah. That would affect him. But, I think Snyder would have the advantage right now purely off of experience. in that, like, Gable obviously has a lot of experience and has been wrestling in the world scene for a while, but Snyder has wrestled in just more like of the world scene, more international tournaments, a little bit tougher competition in international tournaments. So I think that's where he would have the advantage. But I mean, that'd be one of those matches to pay for.
But you also did see his match with Nick Gwizdowski come down in Carteria, you know?
That's true. Yeah, no,
I don't think Gwizdowski versus Snyder would be too close anymore. Because, like, Gwiz made that jump, you know, like, after college.
No, I mean, Gable is incredible. It's like one of those things, like, I mean, Gable, I could see Gable beating him. I could see Snyder winning. It's like one of those ways. Like it's not like I wouldn't see Gable winning. It's just I don't know. Like they're just both so good at what they do, and they're so similar with their styles too, and body type. So that, I mean, I'd pay to watch that match.
And you know, you have Seth Gross, your teammate in the Olympic trials. I think was he at 57? Yeah, that looks like a stressful cut.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he did it really, really well. He did it right. So
he didn't look too bad down there. He teched NATO, so he's obviously up there, you know.
Yeah, no, he cut his weight really well. Yeah. But I mean, he wasn't like a super big 133. I think he was only like 136, 137 walking around. So it wasn't like a horrible cut for him. But I mean, obviously, you'd rather not cut if you don't have to.
Yeah, but it's for the Olympics, you know.
Yeah, no. I mean, he wrestled. I mean,
65 is dominated by.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, and he killed everyone besides Suriano really over at the Bill Farrell. I mean, he scored Suriano with that last second.
Suriano's not a guy you're gonna tech though. Just from his pure mental standpoint, like it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, no, Suriano's always gonna have a close match with no matter who he wrestles.
I think Gross does beat him every time though.
Yeah,
that's my view on it. But then you have the main two guys. You have Thomas Gilman and Dane Fix. How do you think? Dane Fix is obviously gonna be the front runner there. You know, he's the freestyle savvy dude. You think Gross can get the spot?
Oh yeah. So Gross is one of those guys that you'll never know what's coming, no matter how many times you wrestle him. Like, I mean, I watched him practice 100 times this year, and I never knew what was coming. It could be the same position. I would never know what he was going to do. Like, he's one of those guys that will spar for the whole practice and try something new every single position he's in. I mean, you see him hit like a spladle on Robin Bravo Young.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see that in college? People hitting spladles on a guy that good. I mean, he's not afraid to try anything. And I think that's why he's so dangerous. And he's also good at those.
Yeah. Odd question. Have you ever wrestled Seth Gross?
We've actually messed around and wrestled each other a few times.
Did he beat you?
I mean, no. I mean,
did you ever throw legs on him?
I just put my weight on him. I'd cradle him.
Did you ever ride legs on him?
No, I didn't want to squish the dude. He had a bad back.
He has a bad back. Maybe that's why he won't come on the podcast.
It could be that.
No, I think my favorite Seth Gross moment has to be that lat drop from bottom.
Against was Rivera?
Yeah, from Midlands.
Finals or semis, yeah.
Rivera's going to have to go down as my pick just because New Jersey, you know.
I mean,
and even Sammy Alvarez could very well.
Yeah, Sammy Alvarez. No. Match again. I mean, I would pick Gross every single time, but
I'm gonna have to. I would agree with Gross on that match against Rivera. I don't know.
I pick Gross every single time.
That's no, you're just teammate. Yeah, you have to.
But I mean,
all right.
Alvarez wrestled really well, and Rivera's obviously. I mean, Rivera beat him, and he's had a really close match with him the other time. So I mean, those guys are both incredible wrestlers. Alvarez have a great future.
So one last question before we get into Derek's fun time, whatever he calls
Derek's dumb questions.
Yeah.
Next.
We'll call that.
Next segment on the podcast. All right, go ahead and finish up.
Colton Schultz has to be the biggest story, you know? He's basically a year behind her. I think he took an Olympic red shirt.
I think so.
Last season, because I don't think he would waste his real red shirt. He could take a real red shirt this season and kind of outlast the weight class a little bit, which is probably the smartest thing to do at this point. But if he does come there, another guy presents a lot of unique challenges. I think he's going to be like the Greco dude of the pack right now. You know, just like Adam Kuhn was. But a guy like Colton Schultz is a little bit more savvy with his throws, can do a lot of different things. He'll let guys shoot on him just to throw him off that shot.
Yeah.
Right to their back. You've probably seen a little bit of him in high school, you know.
Mhm.
Like he can shoot too, but like, he's not a guy who's gonna hit knees on shots.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
can be athletic. He wasn't always a heavyweight.
Hmm.
Yeah. Where do you think he goes in like with the mix?
I mean, like I'm saying this about a lot of guys at heavyweight, but I guess it's just true. I mean, he's another really dangerous guy that, like, I mean, like you said, you take a shot on him, you gotta watch how you're not gonna end up on your back. But I think it's gonna be really interesting to see him wrestle like a guy like myself or like a guy like Gable or a guy like Paris. They're like not afraid to shoot low singles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see any, you haven't really seen him have a defense or like have to defend anyone that shoots at the ankle. So like I'm really interested to see like where his defense stands there. And because I mean you'll see like a guy like Stencil will even shoot down at the ankle. So like us top 5 besides Cassiope will shoot down at the ankle for most of our shots, for a lot of our shots.
I've seen Cassiope hit some picks,
Mm-hmm.
but it's normally like a guy will take a shot, try to like scroll back out, and then he'll come down the head, just post, go cross ankle pick on him.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, it's a great move. Like if you have the ability to get out to the side that quick.
Yeah.
But a guy like Colton Schultz, I've seen him hit some. If you have a flow account, I think it's on there. I think it's the Iron Man finals with him and John Birchmeyer wrestles for Navy.
Mm-hmm.
The guy hit like again one of those spins out of the Russian, dives back in on a low single. Colton Schultz like rolls and goes crotch lock, sits him like right into the cradle.
Mm-hmm. I might have to watch that, but yeah, no, but he's one of those guys like it's just gonna add another challenge into the bracket. I mean, it's gonna be one of those guys like even if he does have a questionable freshman year, which I think he'll have a really good freshman year. But if he did have like an average freshman year and is like the 16 seed at NCAAs, I mean, he's one of those bracket busters.
Yeah.
Start throwing everybody and start pinning everybody. So like, I mean, I think he'll have a good year, but
yeah, he could be another guy you could see be a 4-time All-American.
And you can see that with a guy like Seth Nellis too. You know, again, he had an average freshman year. Like people are going to discredit that because he didn't place the Big Tens, but still the toughest conference among there, right? I think he makes it to nationals out of any other conference.
I mean, like you see like there's heavyweight is going to be the most interesting weight class to watch.
Yeah,
for a couple years. I mean,
yeah, we better start the NCAA tournament at 125 when it's televised. I don't want to start a heavyweight again because that finals match is going to be interesting.
I mean, that was supposed to be a beatdown, honestly.
I mean, it was also so that you finished with Bo Nickel. That was the real reason why.
Mm.
There's no guys who can be 4-timers except for Yanni right now.
Yeah.
It sucks.
That's wild.
Jason Off lost to Imar his freshman year. Bo lost to Miles Martin. Yeah, that was it. That's crazy, I think.
That is crazy. Penn State does have quite a few 3-timers.
Yeah. Like Spencer Lee could very well lose to Pat Glorious or Vito, you know? He's not that like unsusceptible. Like guys are catching up to him. And that's the main thing you saw, like a heavyweight too. Gable was a guy who's like considered a god compared to everybody else. And then you have guys like yourself moving to the weight class that not many people knew about. Mm-hmm. You have guys like Mason Parrish just coming out of nowhere with that jump. Cassiope giving him a run for his money, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like he's going to be attacking everybody throughout the field.
Yeah, no, I mean, all the matches are going to be close. Like you said, from like round 16 on at the NCAA tournament, every single match is going to be
big upsets in the first round, too.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, they're moving in. Because some of these guys coming out of like the SoCon, like even at this point, like Pac-12, EIWA. EIWA is easily the second best at heavyweight, you know? Mm-hmm. They have the Harvard dude, Jordan Wood, and Fernandez from Cornell. I think Penn might even have a good kid. They're just going to be all over the place right there. And these guys aren't necessarily going to get good seeds because they really haven't wrestled anybody, even though they might be like a top seed guy. Mm-hmm. And then put a guy who's like a 25 seed against like a random like 8 or 9 seed, and you're going to have a Sam Stoll Mason Parrish scenario all over again.
Yeah, I mean, like you even look at the Big 12, you have like a Gannon Gremmel or like a AJ Nevels. Yeah. Like AJ Nevels isn't even being like talked about anymore. Like the kid's good. Like he's NCAA qualified.
He didn't even wrestle last in the postseason because of Josh Hokett.
Yeah, so it's just like one of those things that like I mean AJ Nevels is a really good wrestler and like he's like hasn't been even talked about, but he's like one of those guys you could see as like a 21 seed, 22 seed. Yeah. And he's as dangerous as anyone.
I want to see him wrestle Seth.
That'd actually be really interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch. I think AJ does beat him. You know, Seth is by
I mean,
far the best high school wrestler.
but imagine what the parents are doing. Who do you cheer for? You
Nobody.
just sit there. You just sit there quietly. All right, it's time for my favorite segment of the podcast. Derek's wonderful questions. Evan Wick gave probably the best answers we've had. He indeed, on the last question, which you'll hear, said he wanted 2 of you. So we're just that's just a little hint. So we'll start off with so what's your favorite thing about Wisconsin?
My favorite thing about Wisconsin is what attracted me there was the environment of the fans. I mean, the fans are kind of psychopaths out there as far as like with football games and stuff like that. And when you go anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, it's all about the University of Wisconsin. So you're kind of like the superstar there because, oh, you go to University of Wisconsin. So like the fans are just incredible and like just the atmosphere. I mean, and the campus is just beautiful. But
So it wasn't the cheese.
the cheese is really good. I mean, I haven't had cheese. I mean, being a heavyweight, you know, always got to look out for our food. But the cheese was next level over there.
All right, well, that leads me into my second question. You're obviously not a heavyweight that's cutting weight. Obviously, you're a pretty in shape guy. So, if you could have one cheat meal, what's your ideal just trash food meal you could eat?
So I am a huge ice cream addict.
That's
So
good.
that like I wouldn't be a cheat meal. I'd just be like getting a gallon of ice cream and just smashing.
And a spoon.
Yes, and just
Well, Wix was Oreos.
Wick. Oh, he does like Oreos. He does.
Yeah,
like,
he said double stuffed Oreos. That's his jam.
like just give me some Moose Tracks Oreo or Moose Tracks ice cream or some Oreo ice cream. I'd smash the gallon easy.
Okay. So, okay? So you're probably obviously not a fast food guy, but it is heavyweight nations. So we got to ask, what's the go-to fast food spot?
Wendy's. There's
Wendy's?
sea salt fries are what get me. There's sea salt fries are to die for, and I like sauces.
Mine's Taco Bell. So
Yeah, you know, no, you're worrying about money a lot because I'm gonna be going there like every day. You know.
yeah.
We somehow ended up at like 315. So
Yeah, I think Wick did also agree with me that Taco Bell was his favorite fast food.
Taco Bell is up there for me, but like whenever I'd come home from like a high school tournament, my parents would, let's go get fast food. It was Wendy's every time.
Yeah.
it depends.
All right.
Taco Bell in the car.
Final question of the night to end off the podcast. We asked Evan Wick this, and he did mention that he'd bring 2 of you. So if you could bring 4 people with you in the zombie apocalypse, who are your 4?
Oh, okay. So 1 would be Tristan Moran.
I believe he said that too. I
He's
think
really his cooking ability.
okay, weird question, but he said one of your teammates has a lot of guns. That was one of his.
I'm assuming he's talking about Taylor because that was one of my other ones I was going to bring.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I would bring Tristan Moran for the cooking because we'd always have food, always be fed. And he's always got some crazy stories to tell, so we'd never be bored. We have Taylor. He's your typical country guy. He has a ton of guns. He's super savvy with that type of stuff. I would bring Evan because he's just one of those guys. He's like one of those leaders that are like,
Yeah.
I mean, he would just be able to like guide us through everything, you know, or always have an opinion on something. And just him and Tristan have a really funny dynamic, and I love it. And it'd just be one of those things like more just like comedy standpoint.
Yeah.
And then I would have to go Garrett Model, who is maybe my 4th one, who's our 157, and because he is the best runner I know. And if I needed someone to go get something from a store or something like that, I'll go send him because I know nothing will be able to catch him. So
That's honestly I haven't asked you this question because I asked Evan the same one. Why not Seth Gross?
So as much as I love Seth Gross, he's not going to be able to use his funk on some zombies. So
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, he's a businessman. That's what Evan said. He goes, yeah, he's a businessman. I don't want him with us.
we're not going to be using a ton of business trying to survive on the zombie apocalypse. We gotta use our guys with our I mean, Hey, if you could get some zombies on our side, I mean, he'd be the guy to do it. But,
That's what I said. I'm like figuring, like, think about a Walking Dead scenario. You would need him to like barter with people and like kind of, you know, do the business aspect of it.
like, if there was like other like communities that
Yeah.
we needed to get something from, like if there was like more specific scenario, then
Yeah.
Seth Gross would be the guy.
All right. So I guess we'll ask you one more question of what do you plan on doing after college?
So right now I'm kind of undecided. So I'm going into school for business, like finance. So, but I kind of want to use it as the last option. So first, actually I don't want to say first. Right now I'm deciding between football and wrestling, continuing. So I'd either like do one of the pro days with Wisconsin and try like making the like NFL draft or CFL draft, or I would continue my wrestling dreams towards the Olympics, or like I'd coach wrestling, or I've considered like going into MMA, like UFC.
Yeah,
And
you'd be an interesting person to see fight. I feel like that'd be cool. Would we cut the hair though?
like you couldn't. That'd be part of the personality.
Yeah.
That's what people remember me for. So
I feel like even in the NFL, you'd still need the hair.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Don't they call you Thor? Right? Do they call you Thor? I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
So could we see like a Thor movie career?
Hey, I mean, I'm gonna take that. If I'm gonna be offered to be a Thor actor, stunt double, something like that, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's definitely super cool. I mean, you know, just you're so versatile as an athlete that you could see yourself going in the CFL, the NFL. You know, you gotta make that decision soon, though. Obviously, you know.
I know.
Yeah. But would you stop wrestling then if you wanted to continue football? You'd definitely still wrestle.
I would stop wrestling. I would just focus on football, but I'd have to make sure it was like a really like for sure plan. Like I wouldn't stop wrestling for something that was super questionable and up in the air.
Well, I mean, it was definitely great having you on. You're definitely somebody that, you know, we wanted to get on 100%. And, you know, thank you for coming on. And I wish you the best no matter what, if it's football, if it's wrestling, if it's, you know, you become a businessman someday. You and Seth Gross.
Have business together.
Also, if you could ever talk to Seth Gross, just let him know we're good people. I promise I won't say anything mean to him.
I'll give him a hard time. I'm calling him out right now. Seth,
All right,
you better be on this here within the next 2 weeks. I'm calling him out. You can tag him too. I'll tag him. I'm calling him out.
All right, we'll call out Seth Gross together. We'll even tag Evan too, because I think Evan said the same thing, that he tried to talk to him to get him to come on. So, yeah, just thank you again. This will probably be posted within the next hour or so. You'll get a link. I'll send you the link and everything. So,
all right, awesome. No, thanks.
It's much appreciated.
Yeah. So I'll give the outro now. All right. So this has been episode 19 of Late Night Shots with Trent Hillger from Wisconsin. Thank you for being on, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a lot of fun.
And this is it. All right, peace.